Have you ever felt like time is slipping through your fingers? Like the days blend into each other, your energy fading, and reality itself becoming a loop you can't break? What if I told you that time isn't what you think it is, and neither is reality? There are ancient codes, buried beneath layers of forgotten wisdom, that can bend time, amplify your energy, and even reshape your reality. These aren't just ideas. They are forces, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be activated by those who are ready. I've always felt like I was meant to experience more than this ordinary life. If that sentence resonates with you, type it in the comments. Let's see how many of us are silently waking up to something deeper. And before we dive in, if you're ready to uncover the hidden codes that shape your life and pierce through the illusion of time itself, hit that like button. Not just for the algorithm, but to signal that you're ready to remember what the world made you forget. Because this isn't just a video, it's a transmission. Across forgotten temples, crumbling scrolls, and the echoes of ancient chants, there have always been whispers of 4 sacred codes. Codes that the mystics guarded. Codes that allowed sages to slow down aging, sharpen their perception, and even experience moments that bent the rules of the physical world. These aren't fictional powers from stories. These are ancient technologies of the soul. And right now, you're about to remember them. But be warned. Once seen, they cannot be unseen. Once felt, they begin to rewrite everything. This video will take you through the threshold. First, we'll uncover the lost history of these codes, the truths buried beneath centuries of dogma and distraction. Then, we'll decode their deeper meanings, how they've been subtly used by spiritual masters, alchemists, and enlightened beings to transcend the ordinary. We'll explore how time bends when your consciousness expands, how energy can be summoned, not just spent, and how your very reality begins to shift when these codes are activated. And finally, we'll bring it home. I'll show you how to apply these codes in your life, not as beliefs, but as living practices, things you can feel, do, and become. So take a deep breath and stay with me. Because what you're about to hear was never meant to be forgotten. They say the truth hides in plain sight, not because it's invisible, but because most have forgotten how to see. The 4 codes we're about to explore are not inventions of modern minds. They are echoes from the dawn of time. To understand them, we must travel back, not just through centuries, but through consciousness itself. In the heart of ancient Kemet, now known as Egypt, priest-scribes carved symbols into stone. Symbols they claimed were not just writing, but living frequencies. These codes, they said, could command nature, bend perception, and even open gateways between worlds. The emerald tablets, attributed to Thoth, the Atlantean, spoke of time as a spiral, not a line. Man is a flame bound to a mountain of flesh, Thoth wrote, but he also hinted at liberation through understanding the laws beneath the illusion. Similar whispers surfaced in Vedic India, where the rishis, seer saints who meditated in silence for decades, left behind cryptic verses in the Rig Veda and Upanishads. They spoke of Kala, not just time, but time as a conscious force. They claimed that through inner stillness and mantra, time could stretch or contract, and the self could step outside of its flow. In the Taoist mountains of ancient China, alchemists pursued immortality not through gold, but through qi, the life force energy that flowed through all things. They mapped meridians in the body that, when activated, could unlock untapped reservoirs of energy and awareness. They knew what modern minds have forgotten. Energy is not consumed. It is summoned from the void, from stillness, from intent. Even the Mayan civilization, often misrepresented as primitive, developed one of the most complex calendars ever known. Not for keeping dates, but for navigating cycles of consciousness. They understood that time was alive, breathing, spiraling, an intelligence one could align with. Their shamans worked with these spirals to access altered states and glimpse possible futures. And yet, all of this, these truths, these technologies, vanished. Or so it seemed. Why? Because such power in the wrong hands could unravel the structure of control. If a human being could bend time, summon energy, and shift reality, what use would they have for rulers, systems, or dogmas? So the knowledge was buried, demonized, rewritten as myth, and humanity was taught to forget. But a few fragments remained, hidden in symbols, encoded in rituals, echoed in dreams. What you're about to see is not a theory. It is remembrance. The first code was known to the ancients as stillness of the eye. It teaches that time is not fixed. It is felt. And when the mind becomes still, time obeys you, not the other way around. The second, flame of the core, reveals that energy is not gained through effort, but through alignment, that your body is a conduit, not a battery. The third, the mirror between worlds, shows that reality is a reflection, not of what you do, but of who you are being. And the fourth, the name without sound, is the most hidden of all, because it is not spoken, it is remembered. And once remembered, it opens doors you didn't know were there. These codes are not philosophy, they are activation keys, and soon, you'll understand why the mystics guarded them with their lives. Shall we move into the first of these codes? Let me know, and I'll take you deeper. The first code is the stillness of the eye, not the eye that sees the world, but the one that sees through it. The ancients spoke of this eye not as a metaphor, but as a center of perception untouched by time. You may have heard of it as the third eye, but the truth goes deeper. It's not about seeing visions, it's about collapsing illusion. Time, as we experience it, is a trick of motion, of thought, of perception, of attention. It moves only because we move within it. The sages of old discovered that when the mind becomes perfectly still, not numb, but silent and alert, time begins to slow. Then something even more miraculous happens. Time responds. In the temples of Dendera and Luxor, priests would sit for hours in lotus-like silence before the rituals began. They weren't meditating for peace. They were sharpening time, tuning their perception to such a stillness that moments became vast, stretched, and filled with detail no ordinary mind could grasp. It's said that in this state, a minute could feel like an hour, not through hallucination, but through depth. Because when you are fully present, time bends around you. Think about the moments in your life when time seemed to slow down. A near accident, a moment of love, deep awe. These weren't tricks. They were glimpses of this code at work. The modern world robs you of this power. It fragments your focus, scatters your mind, bombards your senses. But when you reclaim stillness, not just as a practice but as a way of being, time becomes your ally, not your cage. To begin activating this code, try this. For just 5 minutes a day, sit in complete stillness. Not to calm down, but to become vast. Focus your awareness on the space between thoughts, the silence beneath sounds. At first, it may seem dull, but stay with it. Eventually, you'll feel something strange, like time opening. This is the door. Now, the second code, flame of the core. Imagine a candle burning at the center of your being, not in your chest, not in your stomach, but in a space you've never quite been taught to feel. This flame is your energy, not the energy you get from coffee or sleep, but the original fire that animated you long before you had a name. In ancient Vedic science, this flame is called Agni. In Taoism, it's known as the Dantian. In Hermetic circles, it is simply called the inner sun. All traditions agree, it's the source. And here's the secret: it doesn't deplete, it awakens. Most people burn out because they believe their energy is limited. But what if that belief is the very thing draining it? Energy responds to meaning. If you feel lifeless, it's not always because you're tired. It's often because you're disconnected from the flame of meaning inside you. The ancients knew this, which is why their rituals weren't just physical. They were infused with intention. Intention stokes the flame. Purpose fuels it. To access this second code, you must first listen to what gives your soul fire. What evokes awe? What breaks your heart open? What makes you feel alive? These are not hobbies. They are portals to infinite energy. When you act from that place, you'll notice something strange. Exhaustion fades, and a new kind of fuel emerges. Not nervous, but grounded. Not hyped, but radiant. This is the flame of the core, and the more you serve it, the more it serves you. Stillness of the eye slows time. Flame of the core ignites energy. But these are only the first two codes. The third awaits, the one that bends reality itself. Are you ready to go further? Let me know, and I'll reveal the mirror between worlds. The third code. The mirror between worlds. This is where the veil begins to thin. This code is not just a concept, it's a living law. Reality, as you know it, is not fixed. It is responsive. It reflects not what you want, but what you are, at the deepest level of your being. The mystics called it the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. But this wasn't philosophy. It was mechanics. Reality is a mirror, and you are the source it reflects. This is why two people can walk into the same room and have completely different experiences. One sees opportunity, the other sees threat. One feels abundance, the other feels lack. It's not because the world changed, it's because their internal signal changed. The mirror responded accordingly. The ancient Gnostics taught that the world is not the ultimate truth. It is a projection, a dream nested within a dream. But the dream can be steered when the dreamer awakens. Here's the part most people miss. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe is inevitable, what you feel in your bones to be true, even if you never speak it aloud. That's the signal you send into the mirror. And the mirror, ever faithful, returns it with precision. So, how do you change what the mirror reflects? Not by fighting the reflection. You don't yell at a mirror to change your face. You change you, your thoughts, your stories, your frequency, and the mirror bends in return. The Sufi mystics practiced a form of prayer not to plead, but to remember their inner state of union with the divine. They didn't ask. They became. That's the key. You must become the version of you that your future already requires, not as an act, as a state. Try this. For a moment, close your eyes and visualize not just the life you want, but the you who lives it. Feel their posture, hear their voice, sense their choices, and then become them for a moment. Walk as them. Think as them, speak as them, even if it's just for a minute. That is not imagination. That is reprogramming the mirror. And once the mirror shifts, so does the world. But there's one final code, the most hidden, the most powerful. It is called the name without sound. In every sacred tradition, there is a name, an essence, so holy, so pure, it could never be spoken. The Hebrews called it the Tetragrammaton, YHVH, a name of God that was never to be uttered. In Vedic mysticism, the primordial sound was AUM, but even this was said to emerge from a silence deeper than sound. The name without sound is not a word. It is who you were before the world named you, before you were told who to be, how to act, what to fear. It is your original vibration, the echo of the divine that exists beyond identity, beyond memory, beyond form. This code cannot be taught. It must be remembered. Have you ever felt it? That strange, haunting familiarity in a moment of deep stillness, when everything goes quiet and something ancient stirs within you. That is the name without sound calling you home. It's not outside of you. It is you, the part of you that was never broken, never lost, never afraid. To awaken this code, you must return to silence. Not the absence of noise, but the presence of depth. In that silence, you will begin to sense a pulse, a presence, watching behind your eyes. That is the real you, the eternal one. When this final code activates, everything shifts. Time bends, energy flows, reality listens, because you are no longer a visitor to the universe. You are its voice. And now you know. The stillness of the eye, the flame of the core, the mirror between worlds, the name without sound. These are not ideas, they are keys, and you were born to use them. Are you ready to bring this into your life? If so, stay with me, because now we turn to the real magic, how to live this. Let me know, and I'll show you the practical steps to unlock these codes, right where you are. Now that the veil has been lifted, the question becomes, what will you do with what you now remember? It's not enough to know the codes. Wisdom, without embodiment, becomes just another echo lost to time. But when you live it, when you practice the codes, they awaken something ancient within you, something the world has tried to bury under noise, fear, and distraction. Let's begin with how to apply each code, not in theory, but in the sacred theater of your daily life. The stillness of the eye is your entry point. The first step is to reclaim your perception from chaos. Start each morning with a sacred pause. Before you touch your phone, before the world enters your awareness, sit, even for 2 minutes. Let the silence speak. Don't try to meditate the right way. Simply observe. Let your breath guide you into stillness. You'll notice something subtle at first. Time begins to stretch. You become less reactive. Your senses sharpen. What used to rush you begins to slow. You've just started bending time. Throughout the day, practice this code by anchoring yourself in micro moments of stillness. While walking, working, even speaking, feel the stillness behind the motion. It's always there, like a vast ocean beneath every wave. The flame of the core requires you to honor your energy as sacred, not just something to be managed, but something to be revered. Create a personal ritual to ignite this flame. It could be as simple as lighting a candle, placing a hand over your heart, and asking, "What wants to be lived through me today?" Then listen. Fuel your energy through alignment, not through hustle. If something drains you repeatedly, ask yourself if it's in harmony with your deeper purpose. If not, release it or realign it. Begin replacing the idea of rest as collapse with rest as reconnection. Take nature walks, breathe deeply, eat with intention. These are not indulgences, they are acts of ignition. The mirror between worlds comes alive when you shift your identity from reaction to creation. Start this practice tonight. Before sleep, close your eyes and imagine your future self, not in fantasy, but as memory. See it, feel it, speak as if it already exists. Then tomorrow, act as though that version of you is watching. Because they are. The mirror watches the watcher. Every word you speak, every posture you take is a signal. Send the signal of your becoming. If you want abundance, practice generosity. If you want peace, embody presence. Reality does not respond to demand. It responds to frequency. And now the final practice, the name without sound. This cannot be rushed. Begin by creating a sacred space in your life, free from distraction, expectation, or performance. A corner, a moment, a ritual. Here, you do nothing except listen. You are not trying to hear words. You're trying to feel truth. Sit in the center of that silence and repeat this inward phrase. I am the one who was never born, never broken, never afraid. Let this become your sacred mantra. Over time, something profound begins to happen. Your anxiety lessens, your self-doubt quiets. You begin to feel guided, not from outside, but from within. You begin to act with a kind of timeless certainty. That is the name without sound, awakening. These 4 practices are not tasks. They are portals. Each time you engage with them, you're not just changing your life. You're changing your relationship with time, energy, and reality itself. But understand this. The world will not congratulate you for doing this work. It may even resist you. That's okay, because this path was never meant for the many. It was meant for the rememberers, for those who feel the pulse beneath the noise, the quiet calling that says, there is more to this life, and I am here to live it. You are not late. You are right on time. The codes have returned because you are ready. Now take a deep breath and begin. And if you feel something stirring inside you, something old, something powerful, leave a comment below and share your experience. Your words might be the mirror someone else needs to see. And if you haven't already, tap that like button, not for me, but as a symbol that you've received the transmission. This is Grit Tales. Until next time, stay awake, stay timeless, and remember, you were never just human. You are a living code, waiting to be fully unlocked.